AITA for eating whatever I want in the house? I am 51. Live with my wife, 49, and 3 kids. A girl 24 and 2 boys 21, 14. I paid the mortgage. I pay the bills. I pay for groceries. My wife works and her money goes for our vacations and retirement. We are happy with this arrangement. She makes about $85,000 a year. I make more. My daughter has a job that she got after college. My middle kid works part-time while he is in school to pay for extras. All 3 of my kids will graduate their undergrad with no debt. I work weird hours and shifts. I am writing this at 3:30 in the morning because I just got home. There was a note waiting for me on the fridge berating me for eating a box of firecracker shrimp I found in the freezer and made myself for supper yesterday. Apparently it was something my daughter had bought for herself. There wasn't any note on it in the freezer or anything. This isn't the first time this has happened, but I think it will be the last time. I am thinking of talking to my wife and asking her to tell my daughter that anything in the freezer or fridge that isn't labeled is fair game, or that she has to start paying for all of my groceries that she consumed. Because she does not buy the basics. She eats all the groceries that my wife buys. I don't really have a problem with her living here rent-free and eating my food while she saves money. I have a problem with he calling me an asshole for eating food I found in my freezer in my house. I should probably add that in the past I have found out that more than once, food she got actually just meant food that she added to the grocery list that I paid for in her mom shopped for. AITA. Edit. To answer a bunch of common questions. Just spoke to my wife and daughter. The shrimp was purchased by my wife using our budget. It was frozen shrimp, not takeout. My daughter has now agreed that if there is food that she purchases with her own money she will label it and I will not eat it. And I will make sure that the boys know as well. As for rent, I still want her to save her money. Kids have it hard enough these days. NTA assuming your wife does at least some of the grocery shopping. How are you supposed to know that the shrimp was hers? Of course you have to eat food from your own kitchen. Just talk to your daughter about putting her name on something if she bought it special for herself. I'm not clear on why you are asking your wife to do that rather than you. NTA for wanting the food labeled if it's not free game. But YTA for the general attitude and pissiness of this post. I get your frustration, but you need to have a family meeting where there are clear expectations set. You aren't a mind reader, and unless the whole house wants to be woken up at 3 a.m. to verify the shrimp in the freezer can be eaten, they need to start labeling things or get over it when unlabeled items are eaten. That, or maybe your adult kids could have their own special area in the freezer. Space permitting, I had my own shelf when I lived at home. I also bought my own groceries, though, so I needed the space. Info: why are you incapable of having this conversation with your adult child yourself? Asking your wife to speak to her is ridiculous. NTA. I think that if there is no note on the food, you can eat whatever you find in the fridge, freezer. Don't expect your wife to talk with your daughter. Talk to her yourself. Technically NTA. But this line, talking to my wife and asking her to tell my daughter, is really strange. Why exactly you can't talk with your daughter and solve the issues without an intermediary? I know you work shifts, but find a way to have a conversation instead of leaving passive-aggressive notes for each other. NTA. Your daughter is tall, but you're her parent and it's your job to educate her, albeit a few years too late. NTA. Either your daughter labels her food clearly or buys her own fridge, freezer. Info. Why can't you find the time to talk to your kid directly? It's happened before. Why can't you find the time to talk to her? Surely you can tell her to wait up for you one night to chat about her complaints? Are you close to your kids, or are you just providing money for them without talking to them? NTA. Simple, anything not labeled is fair game. That should in no way convey anything outlandish. There's food in my house no one bar my daughter. Allergies. Or I. Medical issues. Can eat. I let the family know it's ours. That they have the run of everything else, but if I don't and it gets eaten, that's on me. How are they to know otherwise? How were you to know the wife hadn't picked them up for such an evening for you? NTA at all. NTA. You can't be expected to know if something belongs to your kid when you have a shared fridge. Otherwise, if your daughter wants to have something for herself, she should label it. You aren't a fortune teller. NTA. Reserving food is okay, but she has to leave a note. That's stolen lunch prevention 101. New family rule. If you go to the store, pick something out and pay for it with your money, you can bring it home and label it with your name. If it's something special you want. Otherwise it's fair game. Mom and dad pay? Kids have to respect it. Little Sally pays, she can write her name on it. If she doesn't write her name on it, fair game. She can't complain. NTA for eating food in your friend left to look like your wife bought it. Your house, your food unless otherwise marked. Info. I don't understand why you just wouldn't talk to your daughter yourself. Why ask your wife to do it for you? Nah. I grew up in a household where my mom and I bought and ate our food separately. She'd give me grocery money and I'd buy what I like. She bought what she liked, and out of respect we wouldn't touch each other's. When I moved out and briefly lived with my partner's parents, they were very much the help yourself to anything, which was nice, except they expected the same in return. I loved certain sweets or foods and I'd look forward to eating them all day, only to come home after a long day of work and see it empty because somebody else had eaten them. They'd say, "Well, I always offer you my food," which I never asked to be part of that arrangement, but it doesn't change the fact I bought and paid for something specific I was looking forward to and now don't have. They knew they didn't buy it. I did, and it sucked. I think if you're fine keeping the arrangement, then going forward you should tell your daughter. Anything she buys herself and doesn't want touched, she should leave a note, and that should keep the peace. NTA in this situation, but op might be, generally speaking, an ah based on his attitude. Instead leaving each other notes, you need to talk to each other. And you both need to start labeling things. My BF used to do this. I live on a tight budget and come home late as well. So my BF would be home before I do and just eat whatever he wanted, so I started to put my name on things and he still ate my food. So I started charging him for what he ate and he stopped very quickly. Sometimes you have to do what works. Unless told otherwise. Or food being labeled. How are you to know to leave it alone? In group food dynamic, everything is fair game unless it's pointed out to be saved for whomever, whatever. I've worked the wired shifts too. And getting home after midnight. Much of time, it's shower, food, then bed. And I often make the food that has least prep time. I work incredibly long hours occasionally. That sounds like a misunderstanding. I'd be upset if I bought something specific and someone else ate it, but an unlabeled thing in the freezer does seem like fair game. If it was something prepared in the fridge, it'd be different. So yay. If your daughter buys something frozen that she leaves in the freezer everyone uses, she needs to label it so no one else eats it. NTA if you approach it as, please label anything that you want to reserve especially for yourself, which can be discussed as a house rule for anyone. But I think you claim to be fine with the arrangement. But the in my freezer in my house, and specifying That it's you that pays for bills. And not your wife. Definitely makes it sound like you feel entitled because you're the breadwinner. Why is it relevant that your kids aren't paying for college except to basically give another reason why your money is so important? If you aren't okay with your 24-year-old daughter living there rent-free and not paying for groceries, that's fine. She's 24. But then don't say you are. That's the root of this.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.